Paradental cysts are inflammatory odontogenic cysts, which gives a clue as to their pathogenesis. We know that paradental cysts typically form on the buccal aspect of partially erupted lower molars, and it's postulated that they form secondary to an inflammatory reaction to chronic food packing and plaque accumulation. So this inflammation of the adjacent epithelium, be it the gingival crevice or the periodontal ligament, it's also thought to inflame the primordial resting cells or odontogenic rests which reside in that epithelium. And once induced to proliferate, either by a developmental stimulus or, in the case of paradental and radicular cysts, an inflammatory stimulus, this proliferation is thought to lead to cystic change. So in order to understand why some odontogenic cysts form pericoronally, others at the CEJ, and others again in the apical regions, we need to revisit the embryology of odontogenesis in order to understand the location and derivation of the different epithelial rests. This diagram shows superiorly the oral epithelium, or gingiva. Now, during odontogenesis, a tooth germ buds off this as an infolding of the oral epithelium, as seen pictured, and normally there's a bridge going downwards, and it's the dental lamina. Now, this lamina slowly degenerates and breaks down as part of normal development. And from there, amelogenesis and dentinogenesis can proceed, and this is described as the bud, the cap, and the bell stages. Finally, the root is formed from the Hertwig's epithelial root sheath. Now, going back to the dental lamina that degenerates, the ectodermal tissue that is contained within those remnants are the rests of seres. Now, if there's not degeneration and there's ongoing developmental proliferation of these rests, this can give rise to odontogenic keratocysts, or lateral periodontal cysts, or any of the developmental odontogenic cysts. Now, a little bit lower down, the crown of the tooth is seen to be forming. This enamel organ contains the reduced enamel epithelium, and these rests actually arise as a fusion of 4 different layers: the inner enamel epithelium, the outer enamel epithelium, and sandwiched between them, the stellate reticulum and the stratum intermedium. So as the tooth crown development proceeds, these layers all reduce and they fuse into the reduced enamel epithelium, and it persists as a dental follicle which covers the crown of an unerupted tooth. But proliferation of this follicular layer can lead to pericoronal cysts, such as the dentigerous cyst. In 1976, Craig postulated that proliferation of this same layer, the reduced enamel epithelium, could also give rise to a paradental cyst, and this can be seen by the green arrow on the diagram. Rather than covering the whole crown, at the buccal aspect where the CEJ is and the crown and the root meet, this is the point where paradental cysts are thought to arise, and they proliferate in that buccal direction. Now, lower down is the root surface, and this contains different epithelial rests which are known as the rests of Malisae. Now, proliferation of these at the apex is thought to contribute to radicular cyst formation. However, some have speculated that proliferation of these rests of Malisae higher up on the root surface, closer to the CEJ, may also be able to produce a paradental cyst. So, there's no overall consensus in the literature at present whether it's the reduced enamel epithelium or whether it's the rests of Malisae that cause paradental cyst formation, but there is a general agreement that the stimulating process is largely inflammatory in nature.